to the relaxed version. Okay. Oh, fellow kids. Oh my god. Welcome to Theory Thursday. Today I'd like to tell you about a theory that's been taking over my mind lately that could be helpful to resisting, called Informational Autocracy. The article in question is Informational Autocrats by Sergei, Guriev, and Daniel Treisman, published in the Journal of Economic Perspectives, Fall 2019. It's available for free on Google Scholar. I learned about this article thanks to Brenna Perez, whose video I highly recommend looking up on YouTube, Informational Autocracy. Authoritarianism looks different now. Subscribe to her for great videos. The authors argue that the model of dictators and how they rule has changed. In the 20th century, it was based on fear. Now it's based on information access and education. These new informational autocrats like Vladimir Putin in Russia don't do the mass killings and terror campaigns of past dictators like Joseph Stalin. Instead, they mimic liberal democracies to stay in power and try to retire without being killed or imprisoned. Quote, dictators in power today survive not by preventing the masses from rebelling, but by removing their desire to do so. Dictators had to change tactics because higher education makes people harder to control with repression. We're globally linked with social media, so it's easier to ask the international community for help and to expose crimes. It also enables organizing and coordination. Surveillance and propaganda is used on platforms, but if they do it too much, the people will dissent. Finally, the global human rights movement made people more aware of their rights and how to resist. The new autocrats gain power through manipulating information, the media, and rely on the general public's lack of political education. This creates a gap between the informed elite and the general public. Those with higher education and political education accurately assess the leader's incompetence and are less susceptible to the propaganda. The rulers stay in power by convincing people to believe that they are competent and want what's best for the public by mimicking democracy. The tools of informational autocrats are networking, sharing tactics and information with other autocrats, helping each other out, providing money, resources, and tips for managing dissidents in the public, covertly subverting elections and political institutions. Some falsify results. Legislatures become token representation lacking power or will to check the ruler. Harass, defame, imprison opponents for shorter sentences on drummed-up charges. The more embarrassing, the better. For example, adultery or tax evasion. Denying education or travel documents. Denying housing. Targeting them before they act with surveillance. Think NSPM 7, recently released. The goal is to obscure government intervention. When they do kill, they try to conceal it to avoid backlash and dissidents. Use the rhetoric of economic performance and service provision, like, we're fixing the economy. They censor the media by harassing, threatening, and bribing companies and shareholders so that they censor the platform instead of the government. This creates plausible deniability and shifts the blame. They split the people from the informed elite with anti-education sentiments, anti-elite resentments, and reducing academics' power and agency, for example, in the crackdowns on universities. Finally, they use scapegoating, especially anti-immigrant sentiments. Based on the article, we can infer some tactics for resistance when we understand how informational autocrats maintain power. In no particular order, here are my thoughts from the article. Work disruptions are key. Start talking and organizing with others for a general strike. Organize to seek increased spending in education, health, jobs and unions, and other sectors to improve the general public's well-being. Support each other in community. People who are living well and connected do not tend to support authoritarians. Connect globally with human rights networks and organizers. Share what is happening and what is working where you are. Provide education on politics, governance, media literacy, and logical arguments to help the general public recognize these methods and propaganda tactics. Think continuing education and workplace trainings. Encourage reading, public lectures, teach-ins. Get creative. Encourage cooperation between highly educated people and the general public. Support public education campaigns. Show that learning and smarts are cool and desirable. Promote libraries and being well-read, kind, and empathetic. Understand and reckon with the fact that capitalism and money is the root at the heart of liberal democracies, overt dictatorships, and informational autocracies alike. I believe we need a new economic system that doesn't rely on infinite growth and having an underclass of the poor. Research and discuss with others what you think. Push for increased human rights monitoring and enforcement mechanisms. The article notes that monitors come to witness close to elections and can miss all of the pre-election manipulation tactics that the rulers employ. Keep a bird's eye view. It's easy to get caught up in the news cycle meant to keep you overwhelmed. Recognize patterns of actions and tactics. To combat the ruler's rhetoric on economic performance, talk more about service provisions and the role of government. Government should provide services and socialize costs and harms to improve quality of life. What do you want your future government to do for you? Use positive statements like Zoran Mamdani, where he says, you deserve housing and not to struggle all the time. We all want to live well and healthy. Connect on that. Share independent media with others. Cable news has a low barrier to entry for most, and that's the first targeted. Share independent journalists doing good work and encourage people to watch them instead. Broadcast the flaws of the ruler. Explain why what they're doing is wrong or bad. Mock them, laugh at them, and share it with others. For example, Hassan Piker recently mocked Stephen Miller's nerd voice. Call out the media and shareholders bending to pressure. Call out universities caving into demands, and demand that they hold the line. It will cost them money to resist. Support those doing the right thing. Resist censorship. The rulers will say that they're doing it to target extremists, violence, and protect the children, expose the censorship like people are doing with the online ID verification laws in the UK and the Kids Online Safety Act. Dissent, disobey, and rebel creatively. Be as non-threatening as possible. The latest example in the news is the anti-fascist frog, using inflatable costumes and silly appearances. This shows in the media that the violence is one way, that anti-fascist dissenters are not the problem here. We can win the global revolution against fascism if we all do something. Thanks for watching, follow for more, and see you in the comments. My turn. We did 2 takes, we'll see what we like.